Hey Stampin' friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachael Coon and it's our Fun Fold Friday. Today I'll be using a celebration item called Islands Vibes, and I'm going to show you how to make a really simple but fun fold. Go ahead and hold while I flip and we'll get started. All right, welcome. Of course, my Fun Fold Fridays, if you comment on my video on Facebook, so right here below in the comments, sometime between now and midnight, you have the chance to win the card that we're making today. So I'd love for you to hear your comments and to see what your thoughts are, and if you've gotten the Island Vibes Celebration stamp set yet. So this is only available when you order $50 from my online store by February 28th. After that, this is no longer available. You can only find it on the black market. No, I don't know. As gifts, like I'll have some extra that I could always give out as gifts and prizes at my events. But as far as you earning it yourself, that ends February 28th. All right, let me show you our card for the day. I live in a slightly tropical climate. It's really cold right now here in California, or cold for California. But I was looking outside and we truly have like these type of palms all over the place. And so I thought, how fun would it be to make this Island Vibes fun fold for you guys today? Let me get the pieces out and I can show you that I know that pineapple looks very intimidating, but it's not as hard as it looks. The colors I'm using today, I have 3 of them. So we have our basic white, our old olive, and our crushed curry. And then I have 4 different ink colors. I have my old olive, I have some just shade, my evening evergreen, and my crushed curry. So a couple of colors, and I'll show you why. We're going to be kind of artistic here today and just kind of blending our colors of inks together to create more of a tropical look. Let's go ahead and start with that awesome little pineapple. So I have a little piece of basic white here. Excuse me, I went running this morning, and so I have like a little tickle in my throat. When you run too much or too hard, that kind of happens sometimes. All right, so here's our pineapple one. And you can see that it is all together. So you're wondering, how in the world can I get 2 different colors on this one stamp? Let me show you the secret of how to do that. So I'm going to start with my crushed curry. We'll open it up. And let me place it right here so you can see. What I'm going to do is line it up. Let me move this over. We'll turn it this way. There we go. So I'm going to hold it over my ink pad and just on the very edge. So we're going to keep this side over the grid sheet and this side with the image right here, and just ink it up a couple times. So press down and do a little tapping. Double check it by flipping it. Looks pretty good. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for our evening evergreen. That's this darker shade of green here. And let's get it ready and line it up. Except for now, we're going to do the opposite way. The pineapple part is going to be there, and we're going to just do the green part on top. So grab this one and ink it up. Look, check it on the other side. Looks like both sides are now inked. And we'll get our piece of paper here and flip it over. Line it up. And there we go. A beautifully stamped pineapple. Now, if you get a little bit crazy and have a little bit yellow on this side, a little bit green on that side, that's okay. For this particular one, we are going to go ahead and use a linen thread bow to cover that gathering spot. So if you mix it a little bit, it's totally forgiving. But that's how we do that one. Super easy. Let's go ahead and attach that now to our mats. They're just building up in size. So we'll flip this one over and attach it to our old olive. Making sure there's a border on all sides. And if you're wondering what these measurements are, I honestly can't tell you without looking at my Post-it note that I don't have nearby, but I do have it all over on my blog, and I'll leave that in the comments or in the description below for you to visit later. And a lot of times you just make this basic white size the size you want and increase your mats by 1/4 of an inch for each one. And this size totally depends on what you're stamping. So I made that one to meet the size of my pineapple. All right, our pineapple's done. We can set this aside, and let's go ahead and grab this strip here. This is for our front, where we're gonna make our own designer series paper right here. And as you can tell, this stamp set has only 3 images and no words, so we're going to leave this one blank. We could add a saying to it later when I have like the perfect person in mind that I want this for, or leave it blank and just write in the inside. Totally up to you. For this one, we're going to start and do something a little bit different. We want a couple shades of green in this one. So we're going to open up all of our colors. We have our Old Olive will be our starting point. And then I'm going to have my Evening Evergreen and my Just Jade. And I'm going to grab 2 sponges. So what we're going to do is take this and I'm going to ink it all over with the Old Olive. And I'm going to go straight with my ink pad to the stamp because it's kind of a large and awkward size. So instead of stamping like we did with our pineapple and we had our ink, our stamp go to our ink, and we're now having our ink go to our stamp. All right, so there's a good base layer right there of that Old Olive. Now I'm going to take my Just Jade and a little bit of ink with a sponge, and we're going to go over on the bottom. Just have a little bit and just sponge that right on. This is going to mix our colors and create a whole new color. I'm going to do the same thing with the sponge, and we're just going to go over now the tops. I don't want to completely lose that base of that Old Olive, but to have definitely some different coloring here. Okay, so that should be good for this one. Let's go ahead and flip it over, and you can see it's kind of a right angle triangle. Right angle, yeah, I guess kind of a triangle, a corner there, a 90 degree. There we go. So we're going to set that over into our basic white and stamp down. Oh, I love it. That turned out great. To create that ongoing look, for this one, I kind of lined it up in a not so good way. This one I made sure to have it go off on the edge a little bit, so it looks very continuous instead of boxy. All right, we're going to do the same thing. See if you missed it. We're here how we do it again. We're going to go with our Old Olive, ink it directly on, and then grab our sponges. We'll do our Just Jade again on the bottom. Just do a little bit of sponging there, and then our Evening Evergreen on the top. Okay. Let's get ready to flip it. And this time we're going to go the opposite direction and do this bottom corner now. Line it up and press down. Oh, I love it. Okay, let me show you how this turned out. Look at those different shades of green. Looks definitely more realistic versus just a solid color. And I love the texture that it brings to it. Really, really cool. So that's his tip. Grab your 3 favorite shades of green and some sponges, and you can make your palms look even more real. All right, now what we have to do is just assemble. So I'm putting all my inks away so I don't make bad choices, except for I wanted to add something extra to this one. So here's our card base, which is smaller than regular. It's actually a 5.5 by 6 1/4, scored at 4 1/4. Right here. That's what creates the fun about this one. But we're going to do actually a little bit of stamping right here on the inside. I'm going to grab my Old Olive, which is the same color as our card base, and I'm going to stamp that last image, which is kind of like this potted palm is what it looks like right there. We're just going to keep this as a special little inside extra. Let's see, make sure that's dark enough. Looks pretty good. And we'll stamp it down there. Awesome. It's very subtle, but it just adds a little bit of extra, which I love. All right, go ahead and grab your basic white. We'll put that in the inside of our card base. I'm using my Stampin' Seal Plus putting a little bit of adhesive in each corner and one in the center, grabbing it by the stickies, and then placing it on the inside. And just carefully lay that down so it has the border all around it. There we go. All right, let me grab my bone folder again just to make this a little bit more crisp. Because it's that half size, it won't lay down as nice. It always will have some sort of opening there, and that's okay. Go ahead and grab this part now and add a little bit of adhesive to it and attach that to the front. I'm going to use the basic white from the inside to be my guide so I know how and where to line it up. Looks pretty good. Lastly, for this guy, we're going to attach him with dimensionals. So I'm going to flip this over, and on this back of this side here, the left side, we're going to add dimensionals only. So I'm keeping my finger on there so you don't forget and put them on the wrong spot. It's tricky when you flip it over and you don't realize what the image is or which direction it's going. So figure out a way to know. And so I usually keep a finger to that side, reminding myself. All right, so only on that one side, then we're going to attach it to our card front, just like so. Perfect. And lastly, we just need to embellish this guy. Like I said, there's no words, so this is a fairly simple card. It can be used for anything. Linen thread is one of my favorites, and we're going to make a double bow. So what I like to do is go about 7 inches, which is about on my grid sheet, the bottom here, and then we double it. Just pull it to that meeting point there. Trim it off, cut it. Usually I like to tie it without cutting this extra loop yet. I'm going to kind of just play with it for a little bit, making 2 of the bunny ears and wrap them together. The only hard part is sticking both of those bunny ears through the hole. Once you have that, you are good to go. Looks crazy, so do play with it. Pull on one end by holding the knot on the center and making the bow the size that you want it. And then take your paper snips and trim off those ends. There we go. Now we just need to grab a glue dot and put the knot to the dot and pinch it off and stick it right there to the center of our pineapple. Super cute. So I could leave it like that, or you can add some extra embellishments. I'm loving these iridescent rhinestones, so I'm going to add these to it as well. For this card here, I totally left a fingerprint underneath that one, and so that was strategically placed so that way you couldn't see the ink spot that I created. But I definitely want one down here and 2 more up on the top. And there's 3 different sizes, so I like to use a large one on the bottom. We'll go a smaller one right here, and then the medium-sized one at an angle just a little bit above it, like so. All right, and there we go. Look at that awesome little bling there. All right, you guys, that's our fun fold for the day using a Sale-a-bration Islands Vibe stamp set. I hope you had a great time learning how simple and easy and some cool new techniques with this card. Be sure to order from my online store before or on February 28th and add this to your cart, the Islands Vibes. Before you know it, summer's going to be here and you're going to be wishing you had a pineapple or some palms or even a cute little potted plant to add to your collection. All right, guys, happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.